Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show, where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. It's your host, Stephen Schmidt, back at it again. And I got a real treat for you today. And I know I say that all the time, but I got another Stephen with a PH in the house today. I got Stephen Petasky. Hopefully I said that last name right. Stephen has been in the real estate world for over 20 years. He's also the founder and CEO of the Luxus Group, and he's essentially the king of short-term rentals. And so we're going to get into a real cool conversation here today and some of the projects that he's been a part of and his background. Before we do, just remember at Investor Fuel, we help real estate professionals, service providers, and real estate investors 2 to 5x their businesses in order to build the businesses they've always wanted so they can live the lives they've always dreamed of. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all get into real estate for, is to live the dream. So with that being said, Stephen, welcome to the show today, brother.
Thanks, Stephen, with the PH. I am the first for that, I think we talked about. That is a treat in itself, at least for us. We think it's cool. Maybe no one else, but
100%. You bet. So for our listener base, can you just give us a little bit of background? Like, how did you get into this space? What were you doing professionally at the time? Did you jump right in as a young adult, or how did you get into the business? And then how did you get to where you're at today now with the Luxus Group?
You bet. Yeah, it's been 18 years. It's been quite the journey. So I'll give the kickoff to it all, because I think, like all, I would say, real estate or entrepreneurial journeys, it starts with a problem you're trying to solve. And for this particular problem was not trying to solve it for anyone else, but for my wife and I. We were having our first. She was pregnant with our boy, and we were totally different careers. She was a journalist. I was in the retail grocery business, so very far removed from real estate. But we had a love for travel, so that was, whether it's hotels or renting at that time VRBOs, because, Airbnb did not even exist then. And
right.
Our problem was pretty simple. It's a problem that everyone had at the time and still has to a certain extent today, is when you start traveling, especially with kids, you want more space, so we would stay in hotels as a couple, and it was fine. We eat out 3 meals a day, and we didn't mind a small hotel room. When you have little babies, which you have a big family, it's hard to jam them all in a hotel room, and it's not really comfortable for the kids or the parents at all. Right. So we realized hotels were going to be probably done as part of our travel going forward. So what do you look at that point? Well, you look at vacation rentals. It gives you the kitchen size, the bedroom count, the pool in the backyard. You can just hunker down and relax a little bit versus cook your own meals, everything else. The problem is, as we were, and I think some parents were maybe more chill than us, but we were pretty anxious new parents, and we're like, my wife is like, I'm not having my baby crawl on some dirty carpet at some home that I don't know what it's going to be like. The pictures look great, but is it really going to be that? And that's where you have, still to this day, the horror stories when you book a home and you realize that's not what it's shaped up to be. It's obviously a lot better today than it was in 06, but at to a certain extent, it still exists. So that kind of got written off. And then the third option was to buy our own home. But we didn't have enough money to do it. But the concept was good in the sense that we could set up the home exactly the way that we wanted to set it up. So playpens, booster seats, baby monitors, hair dryer for my wife, fully stocked kitchen for me, and all the things that would make our lives easier instead of packing 19 suitcases and pack and play and everything else for the travel. we wanted to make sure travel was easy and fluid.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
But the big drawback, in addition to not having the equity to purchase the type of home that we would have enjoyed to stay at, was we wanted variety. We didn't want to go to one place. So I didn't want just beach and didn't want just the ski and golf and didn't want to just the desert, the city. So we thought, like, maybe wouldn't it be very cool if we had 30 properties in all these different destinations? So we had the variety between the city and the desert and the beach and Latin America, and then we had the setup exactly the way that our family would like it. So that was the concept. And we're like, well, now how do we solve this problem? Well, we don't have $40 million burning a hole in our pocket to go buy 30 properties. So we syndicated. Obviously, very common approach to any investment. Instead of doing it with 5 people and buying one home, we thought, let's get 150 people or 200 and buy 30 homes. So we kicked it off in 2007, and we thought, like realistically, like, what are the odds, that we're going to get enough people to get this going? And we went out, I went out, and my wife probably still thought I was crazy at the time, and just went out and begged, borrowed, and stole from 20 friends and family, and we raised $3.5 million. And it was funny, sitting with them back then, they're like, I have the same problem. It could have been a dual income, no kids, or retiree, or multi-generational trip, or families like ours. They're like, I'm sick of not knowing what I'm getting on the other side. So I stay at hotels, and I want a hotel experience, but in a vacation property. So raised the money. We bought our first 3 homes, one in condo in Maui, a home in Phoenix, and a ski summer property in Western Canada. And we thought, our vision was 30 homes, but we thought that's probably going to be it, realistically. But those 18 people told 18 people and told 18 people, and it grew to become like 400 LPs, 100 million in real estate, 50 owned homes globally. And we had this portfolio where these partners of ours would be able to travel to the homes and use it almost like a private club. It really was a private club. Think of a private REIT meets a private golf course type concept. And that kind of snowballed the whole organization into developments and short-term rentals and other things that we're doing now, where the business is growing a lot and it's changed a lot. But that's how it all got kicked off. Wow,
that's incredible. Now, so
nice.
when was that first jump there? What year was that?
So 2007 it was kind of like when almost like 3 7-year increments. The first 7 years were fairly good to us because the Great Recession hit, but we were in Edmonton, Alberta, and the economy was still pretty strong due to oil and gas during the Great Recession, primarily like 2009, 10, 11. And so when the world was fairly stalled, we were having pretty good access to capital, and we were buying homes at a discount. So we had a really strong growth spurt for about 7 or 8 years during that time. And then the next 7 years we shifted, and as our economy slowed down, we weren't selling in the US, we were only issuing this security or this investment in Canada. We didn't really want to have multiple offices around. It wasn't part of the vision. We kind of keep it small and boutique. So for additional revenue, we got into the development side to build homes for groups like ourselves so that we could build the home exactly the way we want it. And then, third iteration we're in now. We're at 18 years. COVID hit, changed the businesses, and we decided to focus on recreating the businesses in a way that could be far more scalable and larger. On the development side, much larger projects and less of them. And on the vacation property side, we decided to get out of ownership. So we actually have sold 46 of the 50 homes, distributed the capital back to the investors, and we're getting into a asset light model where instead of owning the homes, we're managing other people's homes under the same vision. So the same setup and standard and experience for the guests.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because you mentioned those first three that you got were Western Canada, Phoenix, and Maui, three completely different places.
Yes.
Was there some form of unique strategy behind that, or why did you choose to be so spread out versus three in Maui or three in Phoenix? Like, what was the draw to those places back then?
It really honestly went back to the concept of variety. What we were pitching to for our own problem is I didn't want to go to one place. I wanted to go to multiple places. So like, frankly, in a lot of ways, it's easier syndicating in one country or one state because you learn the rules, you understand the economics. But that was never part of our model. Our model's intention was to have experiences around the world. And I say around the world, North America, Latin America, Western Europe, so that our owners and our partners could travel to those homes knowing they're going to get the same experience. So if they go to Maui, but not everyone goes to Maui every single year. Sometimes they go to Kauai.
Right.
Sometimes they go to San Diego. Sometimes to Costa Rica. So now our group never had to travel anywhere else because we had this. We had New York City, and we had a whole bunch of ski summer places. We had Caribbean, Italy. Now people were like opening up their thoughts and minds how they could travel because we made travel easy for 20,000 vacationers or during that time. It was hundreds of people, but multiple vacations each. And so variety was a key component, and that still exists today, providing people variety, just like hotels do, but certainty.
What do you like about the short-term rental space specifically that keeps you in it and has kept you in it for almost 2 decades?
Yeah, I think when I think about any industry, there's always like formative moments within that industry. And back in 07, 08, we were part of 50 companies that tried to launch this variation of it, call it version 1.0. And we ended up becoming a leader in the industry in the largest, equity version that existed. So we're really proud. We felt like we kind of cracked that nut and did a good job. But we also realized there was a limit to the scale and I guess the positive impact we could have for travelers because we only had 50 homes and we want 500 homes as an example. So then we said, okay, let's look at a new version called version 2.0 where we can have that type of positive impact at greater scale. But what does the industry look like? Well, Airbnb dominates, the distribution channels. So we're not going to fight against them. We're going to work with them. They're a very key partner in terms of our growth. What else is missing? Well, Airbnb they can provide global distribution, but they can't provide certainty. They have millions of homes and they're all different shapes and sizes and experiences. So we thought when we evaluated again in kind of 22, 23, 24, before we launched this new version, it's like, we still think the industry is missing certainty. Travelers go to hotels not because they want a room that's 400 square feet big. They do it because they know exactly what they're going to get every time they go. And so from a short-term rental perspective, I think the industry as a whole continues to grow. It's still an industry trying to figure itself out to get like mature, large companies. I mean, Airbnb and VRBO aside, but from property management companies like us, just think about, they just distribute. They're like the horsepower, but they don't run the homes. There's not many very large, sophisticated property management companies that exist globally. And I'd say there's, tens of them, but there's not hundreds of them. It's generally an industry filled with mom and pop shops who've built really nice little businesses in their cities and their areas. Pardon me. And we are looking to say, how do we play a role by providing this variety in the space? So it's kind of like finding our niche, sticking to it, providing a certain experience within an industry, kind of like Elon did with rental, with cars. He realized that there's plenty of cars out there, very large, sophisticated companies, but he found a version of it that they were not doing. These are too big to move or whatever, move quickly. So this is our own little version of that, and hopefully we can make it a $300 billion company like Tesla. Probably not,
right.
But maybe not quite that big. But,
yeah, for
but
sure.
We're going to try to make it bigger than it is today.
Well, it's really interesting on that note. I even saw something on, I think it was X the other day, a stat of car company profits over the last like 15 years or something. And, you got Ford that's like negative 10% over the last decade or whatever. And then Tesla that's like over 18,000% growth.
Yes.
It's just incredible. It's a true testament to innovation. So, and like on that note, obviously you're a market leader and you see things differently than, your average person that just goes and buys a couple properties or maybe sublets a few properties that they're leasing to do this. And so generally when a major player like you is making big decisions like, hey, we're going to offload these properties, become asset light, et cetera, there's in some regard maybe some challenges that you're seeing and some liabilities that you no longer want to have in order to boost the profitability of your company, I would guess. And so with that, what are some of the challenges for the actual owners that you're seeing right now in the market?
Yeah, it's a great question. As we shifted from version 1.0 to 2.0, it was our ability to, our challenge was scalability. So as we kind of shifted to a business that could be scalable, we wanted to look at through the homeowner's lens. They have really three options. If I'm a homeowner that bought a home that I want to rent out, I can either do it myself, which was like a hot thing during COVID. Everyone's making lots of money, but realized that it's a very hard, grindy business, property management.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
No one wants to take calls on a Saturday night when a guest is calling to ask where the channel is for Dancing with the Stars. It's like, oh, this seemed like a great idea to make all this money, and now I'm like, dealing with the leaky dishwasher in my Sunday afternoons. So but still a lot do it themselves. Option number two is use a local property management company. And as I mentioned, there are thousands of these PMCs spread around. So Joe and Jane Smith started San Diego surf rentals 10 years ago, and they got 50 properties in San Diego or whatever it could be. The problem with them is they probably very good operators on the ground. I'm going to generalize, but say very good operators on the ground, but they don't have scalabilities. They're not looking to have Maui surf rentals and Costa Rica surf rentals and all these places. So if I'm going there, it's very hard to create loyalty because you only have one destination. And second, generally, they don't have the sophistication as it relates to revenue distribution. And this is kind of an important challenge. So if you look at Airbnb, you have to use Airbnb and VRBO. They're key. They are the players. They have 92% of the distribution out there. So we love people booking direct with us, but we realize most people are going to find us using those search engines. Well, those search engines are constantly evolving the same way Instagram and X. It's all data programmers reevaluating and changing algorithms on a daily basis to figure out how to reward or punish you on those algorithms on who's going to show. And the reality is, if you're in the first few pages, your property's filled. If you're down the list, your property's not filled. It's just a fact. It's how it works. So we've been working diligently to say, how do we game the system, for lack of a better term? How do we leverage and use sophistication and thought in order to make sure that we become the ones on the first page or the second page? So our properties outperform the market generally. Even though we may have only been at it for a year or two, we can outperform guys who've been there for 15 years. And the local PMCs just don't have that, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of investment up front that it takes to kind of build a platform to support that. So if I, back to your original question, if I'm a homeowner, my revenue is generally not doing as good, especially because COVID was so easy. Now it's hard. So you need someone that knows how to manage the system. And also we can be a good property manager in the ground. So we're trying to solve that revenue problem for people by creating a better experience.
What's your worst nightmare from a business standpoint, and do you have a plan to work around it if it was to hit? Because I think my worst nightmare, if I was in your shoes, would be what happens if the platform goes dark, right? Obviously, there's always going to be something, but what would you say that is for you, and do you see maybe even building a solution for that at some point?
Well, I'll share a story. This will help illustrate. So we, on our other side of the business, our development side, I was more my early part of my career, I think probably like most entrepreneurs, a little more Wild West, shoot from the hip, and not in a way we didn't think things through and spend the effort and do the best job we could, but we weren't thinking with the end in mind. You were kind of trying to think day, week, month, a year. Now my job is really to think 5 years ahead, and the team's job is to execute on the daily basis. So I have I've been punched in the throat enough now to know that it hurts. And if I give an experience, is when we were developing our project on the Big Island of Hawaii. 17 homes, $55 million sellout. It was our biggest development project at the time. We thought we had it figured out, and we had a perfect plan A, but we didn't have plan B and plan C and plan D and plan E and F and everything else. Because what could go wrong? We have a perfect project, a great piece of land, a really great vision around it, a great thesis. Well, I'll tell you what can go wrong. A volcano can erupt in the middle of your sales thing. And so in 2018, we're getting ready to launch sales. Kilauea erupts, first time in 20 years, and basically shuts down the island. It's not like there was, lava that went over our properties, but it was the smoke. The VOG covered the island and basically, I'll mock the news, but made it sound like people were running for their homes. And so the island tourism went to nil effectively immediately. Well, of course, sales went to nil as well. So now we're like, oh crap. We have a huge mortgage. We have contractors going. We're running out of money because we need sales to funnel it and feed it. And it was it took 5 years to correct. Well, I should say 3 good years, but kind of 4 to 5 years to finish it all up. But that really delayed us 3 solid years as a result. So now if I speak more in generalities, and then to top it off, COVID hit. And the beginning part of COVID was really, really hard. Obviously, the second part of COVID was real estate prices increased, but we missed that window. But, we have 2 massive acts of God in the period of 24 months that basically almost put us down, like for good type thing. So now we look at every type of business that we operate. What is the worst thing that could happen? Could aliens land in our vacation homes and commandeer our ship? And if so, what would our plan be in such an event? And so, I can't say we're perfect, but I think we're much better at identifying blind spots now and having the plans in place to effectuate a pivot at that time versus what I might have had 10 years ago. We started that part of the business. So anyway, we're a little smarter now, certainly not perfect, but you live through it enough times, you learn how to navigate it.
Yeah, man, I have a long-standing mentor and friend of mine who was probably 8 months ago. And it's something I'm kind of actively working on just with my own mindset. But he looked at me one day and he goes, Stephen, you are the most positive pessimist I've ever met in my life. So I think it was something along those lines, or something to the extent of, you're a positive. You are always looking for something that could go wrong. And it's like, yeah, well, it's what happens when a lot of things go wrong that you didn't expect. At least if I think about it in advance, like I won't be so shocked when it happens, makes the hit
I'm going to use that positive pessimist as a great thing. I was always glass half full and be like, what could go wrong? And now I'm like, well, what could go wrong will go wrong. And so we need to be ready for it. So now I'm definitely more like, are you sure? Like, are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And you have to be a glass half full in any entrepreneur or you'll never move the needle. And a belief that it can be done, but you could also do it with the right caution in mind to make sure you have ways to get yourself out of a bind when it comes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. The actual term he said was an optimistic pessimist. That's what he said.
Got it. Optimistic pessimist. All right, I like it.
So let me ask you this, because obviously you're in the luxury travel vacation business. What's your favorite place you've been?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's it evolves. As you get to.
Sure.
We're very blessed that we've owned properties in lots of places. We're now developing. Mentioned to you earlier, but 4 Seasons projects, and so we've had a chance to. I'm not going to say travel the world, but between Western Europe and Latin North America, there's so many good spots. So I'd say it's always caving with the type of vacation, but I'm still a super fan of Guanacaste area, Costa Rica. I just think it's the remarkable balance between untouched, but you have luxury, you have incredible beaches, everything's at a deal compared to going to Hawaii. And I'm also a super fan of Tuscany. I'm biased. We have an office there and a large team that we do projects in Tuscany, but the place is magical. Tuscany has done a remarkable job on maintaining authenticity to the region, unlike other parts of Italy. Italy really? In general is amazing, but Tuscany's done a remarkable job. So I'd probably put those top 2. And I did take, I would say if I were to put at the top of the list, if anyone can do it, we took a bucket list trip to the Maldives a few years ago.
Nice.
And that's like everything you see on Instagram, but 100 times better. And it already looks amazing on Instagram. So that's really? If you get a chance to check that one off the list, that one was pretty darn special before, sadly, waves wipe it away in the next 100 years. But it's a pretty special place.
We'll have to add that to our list. We're in maximizing where we're at kind of season.
Love it.
So we're probably like 2 years out, but we talk like we got to go on a cruise, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I don't know how I feel about the cruise thing, but Italy's on the list. I have to add the Maldives, and I've heard Costa Rica. I've consistently been hearing that lately about Costa Rica as well. That's really interesting.
If you're going family, Costa Rica is the best. You got options to get there relatively quick. It's inexpensive. You got kids to host. It's safe. There's parts of Costa Rica that are less safe, but that northwest part is the place. So hit me up when you're looking to travel. We probably have a property for you to rent, by the way. Then you'll be totally set.
I love it. I love it, man. So let me ask you this. If you could go back to when you got started, but you were able to take all of the lessons and all of the knowledge that you've gained over the last 18 years, and you started over back then, what would you do different and what would you do the same?
Yeah, I think what I would do the same is back on that optimistic side is you have to be a true believer in your product. So I've been, we've had a chance to do lots of things, in real estate, different things. And I have said yes to lots of things I should have in the past because it seemed like a good idea, but it really wasn't my true secret sauce, of what I was actually good at. So like if it's not a problem that I'm trying to solve for myself, I don't do it. And I did not do that through the whole 18-year journey. I did in the beginning. In the middle, I kind of got a little mucky, and now I've cleaned it up and we're doing what we're truly good at. So stick of what something you love. Now that might be solving, student housing problem in your city. Like if that's something because you had bad student housing and you want it, that's a problem that can be resolved. But sure. I try to stay in my lane, and I think I would have said stay in your lane more, and I would have got back probably a lot of dollars and thousands of hours if I would have stayed in my lane, not have to correct problems.
Right.
And then what I wouldn't do is this is always a tricky one. I've been asked this in the past, but it's like don't fret over the small stuff. Like failure does happen, and it will happen in your journey. I've failed more times than I can count, and I think I wore it emotionally, or there's like a heavy stress and burden. And you should, if you're representing investors or clients and you failed at something or hasn't achieved the success that it has, you should feel some weight of that, but don't let it cause you to quit, and it's fortunately never caused me to quit. Not to say it hasn't crossed my mind to be like, oh my God, is this more hassle than it's worth? But it's if I spent less time worrying and more time, doing, I might have been able to move through those failures. Like if you're going to fail quick, maybe is the advice I would say. Don't fail long, fail fast.
Yeah, I call those McDonald's moments as an entrepreneur where we just want to burn it all down and go flip burgers because it would just be like stress.
You're always going to have one of those. I was going to train beach volleyball in San Diego, so like that was going to be my thing. I'm not even good at volleyball. I just thought that'd be an awesome thing to do if I had to quit it all.
Hilarious. I guess you do that, and I'll teach surfing. I guess I don't.
There
surf,
we go.
But...
We could set up a little shop there. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Live off the land.
Yeah, right. So, Stephen, what on that note, though, one question that I have about failure, like, how do you define a failure?
A good question. I mean, I think that, society judges it like, maybe this is maybe not accurate, but like I tried to do something and I never achieved that goal, so I failed. Whatever that goal is. I tried to build a rental house and it came $100,000 over budget, or I lost investor money, or I never. I launched this new product and no one bought it, So those are all kind of, I think definitely, or versions of it. What I look at now as a failure, and I'm probably pretty broad with it. Like I feel like we still fail every single day. And this could be with the minutia thing, a core process that we thought was going to be brilliant, that we spent 300 hours developing and realized it doesn't work. It's not scalable. It's like, that is a failure. But it doesn't mean that like it's something we're going to fret over. It's just how you fix it, for the goal. That's part of the learning. So I think that, I don't, it's not like the team affects that it comes back to be like, I did a bad job. It's like, I just failed. I tried something. It didn't work. I've corrected it and now it works. And that's really, I think. Now, of course, it can be bigger where you have a personal bankruptcy or a project goes under. Those ones feel heavy, and we've never fortunately been in a position where we've been in bankruptcy or anything like that. But we've had moments where it was feasible based on volcanoes erupting and having millions and millions of dollars of personal guarantees set up that could wipe you out. And so we've been in precarious positions. And I think that's part of the game of business. You have to take risks that are meaningful to do big things. And if you don't, it's okay. You just won't be able to do big things, but don't be upset that you're not doing a big thing if you're not willing to kind of risk it to get the biscuit. So it's so now we've just learned what failure looks like. We kind of redefined it in our minds, understand it's part of the process. Don't fret over it. Fix it as quick as you can, solve the problem, and move on.
Yeah. I love that. There's an entrepreneur that I really respect who built a rather large metal building company and went to his mentor. And on your note, this just struck a reminder of this clip I saw of him talking. And he said he walked up to him and he's like, look, man, I think I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm owed $1 million. I can't, get stuff done. I've already taken out a second mortgage on my home to cover payroll. And the guy just slapped him on the back and goes, son, if you don't feel like you're going to go bankrupt every 4 years, you ain't doing anything anyways. And just walked off.
It's so true. It's great. Every successful entrepreneur, especially when you have mentors in life, I know you do and I do, and you share the journey, they're like, welcome to the club. You're going to be that much smarter for it. The keys just don't quit. And do an honest, integrity, ethical path to your exit, or whatever that looks like. But like, welcome to the club. And honestly, I think I earn more respect from investors and clients because we've gone through the tough times, and we've been, I think, to be, say we're survivors and find ways through, because they've all been through it. So it's like, if you haven't failed yet, it's kind of like, I'm going to kind of wait for you to get, punched in the throat a few times, and then you'll be ready to be, my mentee or my investor, or whatever it could be.
For sure. Well, and even to that extent, like if nobody's gone through it, like if everybody's just completely successful all the time, you don't know how they actually are when something does go wrong too. You know what I mean? It's like, can you go through it and bounce back?
That is honestly the truth. A mentor of mine that was an investor of ours, I had a really good, blessed 7 or 8 year run before issues started happening based on, growth stalling, economic issues, made a couple of bad decisions, whatever it is. And he's like, yeah, I'll have to be your mentor now, because I needed you to have a kind of house of cards fall down a little bit. And it wasn't like it was horrible, but it was enough that like I felt the pain. He's like, now I think I can be your mentor, because things were going too good, and you need to fall down. It's just the reality. And to your mentor's point, or the clip you saw, it does happen every 4 to 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is, if you're pushing the envelope. If you stay within a very safe comfort zone, it probably won't. But doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that's a path to probably slower growth versus running the car to the wall a couple times and then realizing how to make the turn a bit better next time.
Right. Man, that's so intriguing how you framed that too, or how your mentor did that to you. It's almost like he essentially told you, I needed failure to be your first mentor, so then I could actually help you.
That was it. He's like, he goes, I failed, I've lost it all. He goes, how am I going to help you if you haven't lived part of that experience yet? Like, because I would just be hearing him talk about failure. I'd be like, well, I'm not going to fail. And freaking everything's going great. Right. You have to go through it to be able to make a bigger impact. He could make a bigger impact for me, knowing I'd gone through it. And sure enough, within 3 or 4 years, I called him up. I'm like, the volcano erupted. I'm struggling. I need help. I just need someone to talk to. And it's not like he helped solve problems, but he helped you frame it in a way mentally that this is part of the process, and that's okay. Yeah.
So Stephen, if people want to connect with you for more, see what you're working on, where should they go for that? What's the best place?
You bet. Probably the main site, the luxusgroup.com. So I think I mentioned you, but maybe not the group. Luxus is the Latin word for luxury, so it's not the car company, but that's where the main website is. And then underneath that, we have multiple different sister sites that represent the various product offerings. So hit it up there. And me personally, Stephen Petasky on Instagram. So feel free to hit me up. I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. Probably won't see anything super inspirational on there from me, but I do respond to DMs and people reach out, and I do love connecting with people, whatever it may be. So feel free to hit me up there.
There you go, folks. We'll go connect with him for more. Show him some love from the Real Estate Pros podcast and the Investor Fuel family. Thanks so much for being here, Stephen. We'll see y'all on the next episode.
Thanks, brother. Great chat.
You bet.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.